Hey guys, in this video we're going to start building the restaurant side of the food delivery application. In this first video we will set up a way for staff to log in, and we'll also build a simple dashboard page to view some information about today's orders. So let's get started by using AllAuth to quickly set up some user authentication. I'll put the documentation in the description about AllAuth, so you can reference that if needed. But first we're going to go ahead, open up a text editor. I'm going to close these out because I don't need most of these right now. And actually, before we do this, we need to install it. So let's open up our terminal. Let's go ahead and stop the server. And let's go ahead and type pip install Django-AllAuth. And that will install. I already have installed, so it gives you that message. But for you, if you don't have installed, that will install it. And now there's a few things we need to do to set up AllAuth. So we go back to our text editor, and we'll go find our settings.py file. So we'll go to our food delivery directory, which is, where is that? Our deliver application, our directory. And inside here, we have a settings.py file. Open that up. And I will scroll down here. We'll find our installed apps, so right here. And now in front of this, or above this, we're going to type in all caps authentication underscore backends equals a list. And within this list, we're going to put two things: Django.contrib.auth.backends.model-backend. We'll put a comma. Then we're also going to put AllAuth.account.auth_backends .authentication backend. Authentication backend. Put a comma there. And then down here, within our installed apps, we need to add some AllAuth applications. So let's go ahead below our restaurant. We'll put a couple spaces here, and we'll go ahead and put in first. We need to include Django.contrib.auth, Django.contrib.messages, and Django.contrib.sites. You'll see here we already have Django.contrib.messages, and we already have Django.contrib.auth. So all we need to do is include the sites one. And so I'm going to put that right here below this messages one. We'll put Django.contrib.sites. Put a comma there. And now up here, I want to include some AllAuth apps as well. So we'll put just AllAuth as one. We will put AllAuth.account as well as AllAuth.social account. And now we'll go below our installed apps, and we're going to include one more line here, which we'll put in all caps: site_ID equals and just 1. And these are just things that AllAuth needs to work properly, so we'll just add all that to our settings.py file. We'll go ahead and save that, and we'll jump into our urls.py. And we'll come down here to our URL patterns, and we'll add a path. So let's go below our admin, and we'll do path, and we'll do in quotes accounts with a trailing backslash, and we'll put include, and then just allauth.urls. Put a comma at the end of that line, and we'll save that. And that's all we really need just to get AllAuth set up. So with those changes, let's go ahead and migrate the changes to the database. So we'll come in here and we'll type Python manage.py migrate. And I forgot, so in our URLs, I didn't import include. We're using it here, but we're not using it anywhere else yet, so I didn't include that. So let's go up here to our Django.contrib.import. Or no, our Django.urls.import path. So you'll see up here in the comments, Django gives you a example. Right here, Django.urls import include and path. So all we need to do is come down to this Django.urls import line, put a comma, and put include. and we'll save that. We'll jump back over here and we'll try this again. And those are all done now. So now with all of that done, we should be able to log in and at least get a login page. So let's go ahead and try that real quick. Let's go up here to our browser. Let's go to accounts/login, I think it is. Or I didn't run the server yet. Make sure you run the server. Oops, not that line. Run server right there. And now you'll see when we go to accounts/login, we get this login page. Now it doesn't look very good yet, but we'll change it here in a second. But at least we have everything set up and working correctly. But you'll see up here in this top here, we have the sign up and sign in button. We go to sign up. This will allow any user, anyone who comes to this page here, to this account/sign up page, to sign up for an account, which we don't want. We don't want just random people signing up as staff accounts. We only want the admin to be able to add people as a staff user in the admin panel. So we want to disable this. And so the easiest way to do this is through some settings changes that AllAuth has. And so to make these changes, we can jump into our text editor and go into our settings.py file. And now we can scroll down to the bottom. And down here, we can add a line. So we can add a account_adapter equals. And this will be a path. We want to put this within our restaurant application. We're going to put a new file in there that has all this. So for now, I'll type the path out, which will be restaurant.account_adapter.no new users account adapter. Now we can go ahead and save that line. And now we need to make this file. So we'll go into our restaurant directory. Within here, we can make a new file called account adapter. So we'll make a new file in here. We'll call it account. Make a new file. Call it account_adapter.py. Now here we can import AllAuth. .account.adapter import, or whoops, from, not import here, but from AllAuth.account.adapter import the default account adapter. And now we'll go to create a class, and we'll call it the same thing we called before within our settings line, which is no new users account adapter. And this will be default. This will inherit the default account adapter that we imported. Now in here, all we need to do is just create a method called isOpenForSignup. So we'll do def isOpenForSignup self and request. And now this will check if there is or if the site is or is not open for signups. And because we want it to be closed for signups, we can just return false. So we can just return false, and that will tell Django that this account is not open for signups, and it will load a different template page, HTML page, that just says it's not currently open for signups. So with that change, we can go ahead and save that. And then we can go here and save our settings again. And now, if we go to that sign up page, it should not work. So if we go back to sign in, click sign up, and now it says sign up closed. We're sorry, but the sign up is currently closed. So if someone just came here and tried to sign up for an account, it wouldn't let them, which is what we want. So that's all working great. But now these forms look pretty bad. I mean, they're just basic HTML. There's no styles involved. So let's make them look a lot better. We can do this by using Django Crispy Forms. So what this will do is it will just give us some basic form styles automatically without having to actually make all the styles ourselves, which is very easy and very convenient for bigger applications. So first we need to go ahead and install Django Crispy Forms. So we jump into our terminal, we cancel the server or stop the server, and we do pip install Django-crispy-forms. that will install Django Crispy Forms, which I already have installed, so it's giving me this message saying it's already installed. With that done, we can go and run our server again. And now let's jump back into our text editor and add a few things. So first, in our settings.py, we need to add the Crispy Forms app. And so we can do that up here at the top. We'll do it above AllAuth, I guess. Right here, I'll put crispy_forms. Put a comma there. We'll save that. And now at the bottom of this line here, or this file here, we need to add a settings line for the template pack we want to use. And since we're using Bootstrap 4, we're just going to use our Bootstrap 4 template pack they have just to make the styles match our website. So we can put in all caps crispy template pack equals, and then in quotes put Bootstrap 4. Go ahead and save that. So now that we have all this set up, we need to go ahead and override these templates. And we can do that by just copying the templates if we go and look for them. So if we jump into our browser here, and we search for AllAuth, we will get this thing here. We can click on the first one here, which takes us to the GitHub page for Django AllAuth. And if we look inside of our the AllAuth folder, and you can see here with this templates folder, click on that. Inside of here we have the account. And then you'll see here we have our base template, an email confirmation, a login, logout, and all these different templates here that we're using currently. That the default templates that Django AllAuth is using. But we can copy this and copy all these templates and put them all within a template folder and override our app to use those templates instead of the default ones. And so I'm going to copy in my already updated templates because I'm not going to update the styles in this video. It's just basic Bootstrap putting columns and rows around all of the data. They will all be on GitHub if you want to take a look at it. It's very simple. I'm not going to waste the time here in this video showing that. So you could copy this and start from scratch. I'm going to go grab what I already have. So I have this templates folder here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to jump back into the folder of this project and paste it at the root. And you'll see here, once you open this templates folder, inside of here we have the account, OpenID, social account, tests, everything else here. That's all right here. And then you can open up the folder, and we have all of these that are within the same folder here. So it's all the exact same as what we have, and we can just change these to make them look how we want to make them look. But before we do that, we need to tell Django that we want to use this folder instead, that this is a template folder. And so the way to do that is we can jump back into our text editor, jump into our settings.py file. We scroll up to the top here. You should see somewhere right here. So templates. This templates list right here holds all of the information for where our templates are at. And inside this DIRS key, we can put the location right here, and this will make it one of the template directories that Django will look for the template name. And this will override the defaults for AllAuth. So we can go ahead and type os.path.join. We want to create a path that goes to the base directory /templates, because you look inside of our structure here, if we come up one, we're in the base folder right here. And we can do, so the base directory, we can come here, we can do /templates, which will take us right in here, which then takes us to these templates. So we can just do os.path.join base dir, which is defined in Django as the base directory of the project, comma, and then in quotes, templates. Go ahead and save that, and that will add this directory path to our Django app. And now with those changes made, let's go ahead now and come back to our app, reload the page, and see what we get. So now we have all these styles updated. So we go to the sign-in page. We now have a better looking sign-in form here. All we did here was use crispy forms. Actually, I'll show it real quick, just show that part, just so that part's clear. If we jump into our templates folder, go inside accounts, go inside of, we'll go into our login page, which is the one I just showed. You'll see we load in our crispy forms tags with this line right here. I created a bunch of different just different columns and rows to put everything, all of this data that was already here inside of that. And then down in our form itself, you just put a pipe and then just crispy. And that automatically makes the templates look much better and puts all these styles on the inputs and everything else. So the code's all in GitHub if you want to go copy that into your own project. It's all really basic, just columns and rows, just making this look a lot better than what it was before. And then once again, if you go to sign up, it still says sign up is closed. So this is all still working great. That's all we need to get our basic sign up working. We can go sign in with our admin account. Oops. And now it will take us to this account/profile, which is not where we want to go because we have no profile view set up for this application. So let's go ahead and change that real quick. And that should be fairly easy. All we have to do is jump into our settings.py file. So we'll come into that real quick. And at the bottom here, go to the bottom of the file, we can add a line. So let's add it, let's put it just below our account adapter, since it's with AllAuth. We'll put in all caps, login, _ redirect, _ URL. This will equal any route we want. And so now we can do index and save that. And so now we come here and we go back. Let's go ahead and log out. So we'll do /account /log out. Oh, accounts /log out. There we go. And we can go here and sign out. Now let's go ahead and sign back in. So we'll go to accounts /log in, and then we can go and sign in, and then redirect us to the index page. Once we sign in, once we have everything set up though, we want to redirect this to a dashboard page. So for now, so I don't forget, I'm going to change this line here to dashboard, which will be a URL that we'll set up later once we create our dashboard for the restaurant side of the application. So we go ahead and save that change, and now let's go ahead and actually build that dashboard. So the first thing we want to do is we only want the users who are designated as staff to be able to log in. Right now I could create any account and they could all log in to this application. So to avoid this, I can go to admin, and then I can go into this groups link here under authentication and authorization. And this comes with standard Django, so it's already included in every Django project. Now up here I can hit create or add a group. To create a group, and I can give the name of staff. And now let's go ahead and give it some permissions. So we'll click on customer. Let's click on everything we'll do with customers. So we'll give all these permissions to staff accounts by default. We'll also let them add a user as well. So with those things added, I'm going to go ahead and hit save to save this group. And so now we can add all of our users that we want to be staff into this group, and then we can just check to see if they are in this group, and that will allow them into the website or not. So now let's go back and let's go ahead and go to our users, and let's go to our admin and let's add them to this group we just made. So you scroll down here, you can select staff, and we'll move them into that group. There we go. So now I can go ahead and save that, and that is all we need to do to set up the staff account in the staff group. And so now if you want to create more staff accounts, you can just add a user, create the user, and add them to that staff group, and they'd be there and it would all work fine. So now with that done, let's go ahead and just create a view for the actual dashboard. So I can go into my text editor. Let's close out these files. We don't need them anymore. And let's go into our restaurant. Close that. Let's go to our restaurant app, which is right here. Go into our views.py. And this is currently empty. So let's go ahead and add our first view for the actual dashboard. So first, let's go ahead and import our generic view class that we've been using. So we'll do from Django.views import view. And then we'll go ahead and delete this line here. And then we'll go ahead and create a class. We'll call it dashboard, and we will go ahead and pass in our view class to start. And now we need to go ahead and, just like before, we need to create a method based on whatever HTTP request we want to be able to accept. In this case, we want a GET request, because we're just going to view it. We're not going to post any data or have any forms on there, at least not yet. And so that's all we need for now. We can pass in self, request, star args, and star quargs. And now from here, we can go ahead and first we'll go ahead and just return render a template. And we'll pass in request, and we'll pass in restaurant/dashboard.html. We'll go ahead and save that. Now let's go ahead and create a simple view, or simple HTML template now. So we jump into our templates within our view, within our app, which is not here. So we'll create a new folder within our restaurant app. We'll call it templates. And we'll create a new folder within our templates folder. And we'll call this restaurant. Oops. It needs to be the same name as the app, so it'll just be restaurant. And now within that restaurant directory, we can create a new file, and we'll call it dashboard.html. And we'll just put an H1, and we'll call it dashboard. Save that. Let's go ahead and save our views, and let's add our URL pattern for this now. So we'll jump into our urls.py. Actually, let's put this in its own file. So within our restaurant app, let's create a new file. Let's call it urls.py. And we're going to add this file to our root directory URLs. So we jump into our deliver app, go to urls.py. We can use this include statement that we use for AllAuth. We can add this restaurant URLs path, or this restaurant urls.py file, to our patterns in our root directory. So we can do path, and we'll just do restaurant, I guess. We'll call it restaurant for now. And we do include restaurant.urls. So now any route we create will start with restaurant / whatever we put in inside of this file over here. This file right here. So I can go ahead and do a URL patterns equals just an empty list like that. Let's go ahead and copy some things over. So let's go ahead and actually we won't copy it. It's pretty simple. We're just going to copy some import statements. So just import these, or just this right here. So let's go ahead and just put in this import statement right here, just from Django URLs import path. We'll copy that and paste it at the top of this file. And we can go ahead and delete the include because we don't need that right now. And now within here, we can go ahead and create a path, and we'll call this one dashboard. And this will go to our dashboard view, which we need to import. So we'll do from.views import dashboard. Oops, capital D dashboard. And then we'll come down here, and we'll do dashboard.as_view like we do for all class-based views. We give a name, and this will be equal to dashboard, which will match what we put inside of our settings.py file. We put this as the redirect. So now with a simple view that renders a template, a file here that displays dashboard, and our URL patterns, we should be able to view this once we log in. So if I log out, I'll go back to the site. We'll do accounts/login. Get back to our login page. Log with my account. And it should redirect me to this dashboard page. So now let's go ahead and make this an actual dashboard page. Now that we have everything set up and everything working. So the first step would be to add some more data to our views. So what we want to display the total number of orders from the current day, the total revenue by adding up the price on each order for the current day, as well as a table that kind of shows each order. So we can do this by first, we need to determine a few things. So I'm going to put some comments to kind of guide this process. So first, we need to get the current date. It's hard to know what today is without getting that date. So we'll get the current date, and then after that, we need to just loop through the orders and add the price value. And then once we have that done, we need to go ahead and just pass total number of orders and total revenue into template. So that's kind of what we're going to do here to get this thing working. So first, let's get the current date. And Python or Django has a date time class we can use to get the current date. So let's go ahead and import that. So up here at the top, we can do from Django.utils.timezone import date time. Now down here below this comment, I'm going to put today equals date time dot today, and that will get the current date. And now from here we can do today dot year to get the year. We can do today dot month to get the month, today, etc. So we can do all that to get all the data we need. So now we're going to go ahead and match those different pieces from the date to our order model, or to our orders, to our order model, I guess. So now let's go get all the orders that match this date. And so we can do orders equals order model, which I need to import. So I'm doing it right now before I forget. From customer.models import order model. And we can do order model dot objects dot filter, like we would for any thing else we do in Django. We filter it by a certain parameter. And you'll see inside of our models.py within our customer app. Let's see, where's that at? Up here. So we have our models.py. You'll see on our order model right here, we have a created on field. And this created on field will give us the date that the order was placed. And so we can match that with today. And if it is the same as today, we can display it on the dashboard. So back inside of our views, we can do created on, and then do double underscore year to match the year of the created on date with today.year. So these are the same. They will, it will be included. But we also want to do the same thing for the month and for the day. So we'll do a comma and do created on double underscore month equals today dot month. And then finally we can do the same thing, created underscore on double underscore day equals today dot day. And now we'll go ahead and auto format that, which is why it changed there. But now we're filtering by the day, month, and year to see if they all matched with the current day, month, and year. And if they do, they'll be returned within this orders variable here. Now with all that done, let's go ahead to the next step, which is loop through the orders and add the price value. So all of our orders are saved here. So now we can loop through and do orders.price to get the current price and add that to a total revenue variable. So first, let's create a variable. We'll call it total underscore revenue. This will equal 0. And now we can do a simple for loop for order in orders. Total revenue plus equals to take it and add it to the previous value equals order.price. And that's all we need to do there. That will add up and give us this variable here with the total amount of money earned from the current day. And now finally, we need to pass all this into the template. So let's create a context variable like we normally do. And now within here, we'll do orders. We'll pass in our orders because we need to display all the orders. So we need to pass that into the template as well. We need to pass in our revenue we just created and this variable up here. So we can go ahead and just call this just total revenue, keep it the same, and pass in whatever is in the total revenue variable. And then below that, we can pass in the total number of orders. So I'll call this total underscore orders. And we can get this by getting the length of this variable. So how many items are in here will be the total number of orders. So all we gotta do is just do down here, we'll type len for length and pass in orders. Now it'll give us a number of how many orders are in that variable. And that's it. That's all we need to pass in there. So we can go into our return statement and just pass in our context to pass it into the template. Now there's one more thing we want to add here. So this works great, but if we have an account that's not a staff, they can still log in and still view this, which we don't want. So we want to utilize that staff group we just created to limit who can sign into this website and sign into see the dashboard. And luckily Django has some easy tools to make this pretty simple and pretty straightforward. We need to import two mixins, which will add extra functionality to our class. So we'll come up here, we'll do it right here under our view. I'll do from django.contrib.auth.mixins import user passes test mixin and login required mixin. So the user passes test mixin will validate the request the user in the request based on some sort of Boolean expression we can set, which we'll do to see if they're in that group or not. And the login required mixin will make sure they're logged in, or will redirect them to the login page. So if you go to that URL without being logged in, it'll just redirect you to the login page to log in. And then if you're not in the staff group, the user passes test mixin will throw a 403 error instead of actually letting you into the dashboard. So let's go ahead and add these to our class. So up here in our class declaration, you see we have this view class. This view, you'll see we have the view class imported as a parent. But we also want to put in our login required and our user passes test. So I'll type in login required and then user passes test. And now with just that, our login required is already set up and working without doing anything else, which is super nice and super easy to add that to the website. But the user passes test requires a method. So now below all of this, we'll come down here and create a new method, call it test_func, and pass in self. And this is just a method defined by that mixin that it will use to validate if the user is allowed to view the dashboard or not. So now we want to return a Boolean expression. So we'll go ahead and just return self.request.user, which gets the user that's currently signed in, and we'll do .groups.filter, and then in here we'll put name equals staff. This name here needs to match what you called the group in the admin panel, and then we can do .exists, and this will either return true if that name does exist for this user, or false if it does not. And that's all we need to do for this. So we go ahead and save that. Now let's go ahead and just test this out real quick. So now that we have all that set up, I'm going to jump back in here, just reload this page. Oh, I made a typo here. I put just login required and user passes test. I need to put login required mixin and user passes test mixin. So we'll go ahead and save that. Come back here, try this again. So now for a logged in user who's a staff, everything's still working fine. Let's go and create a user that's not a staff. So I'll jump back into our admin panel. Go to users. Let's create a new user. We go to password. We'll create that user. And now you'll see down here, the staff is not a part of their groups. So if we go ahead and just save that user, we can now log in as not staff and see what happens. So I'm going to go and log out. And first, actually, now that I'm logged out, let's check to see what happens if you are not logged in at all. So we'll go to accounts, we'll go to just to restaurant/dashboard. And now it redirected me to the sign in because I'm not signed in currently. So login required mixin is working. But now let's log in to a user that's not a staff. So we'll do not staff and my password. We'll log in, and now it gives us a 403 forbidden. So this is all working great. If you're not a staff user, you can't view this dashboard page. I'm going to go ahead and now sign back in as my admin account. So I'll go ahead and log out first. And then I'll go ahead and sign back in. And now let's go ahead and make this dashboard an actual dashboard and make it look pretty, or at least a lot better than it looks now. Let's go ahead and jump into our dashboard.html within our text editor. And we add a few things here. So first, let's go ahead and just copy in. Actually, before we do anything else, let's create a simple base and a simple navbar for the restaurant side, because we'll need to use that later. So I'm going to go ahead and create two new files within our templates folder here, our restaurant folder within the templates folder. So I'll create a new file here. I'll call this base.html, and then I'll create another file here. I'll call it navigation.html. So let's go ahead and copy our base template from our customer app first, because it's be mostly the same. So we'll go to our customer, go to our templates, customer, find our base. Just do Control A to select everything, copy that, and paste that into here. Now let's just make one change here. Let's change this customer.navigation to our restaurant/navigation. And then we'll go ahead and remove this footer because we don't really need that either, for now at least. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that. And then we'll go ahead and grab our navigation as well. We'll go ahead and copy this because it'll also be pretty similar. And we'll paste that into our navigation for the restaurant. Now let's make some changes here. Let's go ahead and remove the About page, remove the menu. So we'll just empty this whole ordered list out. And then we'll empty this one out as well. And for now, we'll go ahead and just leave it blank until we add more stuff later. Yeah. So now we come back here, reload the page, or actually before we do that, now we can add these two templates to our dashboard. So we can come into our dashboard HTML, come to the top here, we can do extends restaurant/base.html. And now we can create a block content around this. Go ahead and save that. Come here, reload the page. And now we'll see we have a simple dashboard text here with our nav bar here with nothing here for now. Okay, great. So let's go ahead now and build this actual dashboard page out. So first, let's go ahead and create a container. So we'll go ahead and clear all this out for now, and we'll just start from scratch within our block content. Let's create a div and add a container. This is just normal Bootstrap. So add a container. Within this container, we'll go ahead and close that out first. But within this container, we're going to go ahead and put a row. So div class equals row, as well as justify content center. And then within this row, we're going to go ahead and create another div. It'll be a column. So we'll make it a card as well. So we'll do a card column dash MD dash we'll say 5 with a margin right of 3. And then within this column here, I'm going to create an H4. I'm going to give it a class of text dash center padding top dash 2, and then we'll go ahead and within here we will put today's total revenue. And this is what we're going to use to display the revenue that we pass into our template, which is all the prices added up. Now below this H4, we're making H1 with a class of text-center. And we're also going to put a style on this to make it green. Style equals color, and we'll pass in just green. We'll keep it simple there. And then within this, we'll put a $sign, and then to pass in a variable from our template or from our view, we put double curly braces. Within there, pass in the name. So you look at our views, we pass in our revenue as total underscore revenue. So all I need to do here is type total underscore revenue, and that should show us our total revenue. Now let's do the same thing. Let's do the same thing here for our total number of orders. So I'll copy this column and I'll paste it down here. And we'll change this from today's total revenue to today's total orders, I guess will work. And then down here, I want to make this a red color, and I'm going to put a specific hex code in here. So I'll do AD0003 into this H1, and it will change total revenue to total underscore orders, which is what we called it in our template or in our view. Now with those changes made, we'll come in here, we'll reload the page, and you'll see we have our total revenue and our total orders. Now there is one issue though, is that they're underneath each other, not side by side. So let's go see why that is and make that fix. So right here, I accidentally I copied the row closing tag as well, and so this is putting it on a separate row. I create a separate row here, which I don't want, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that by deleting that and deleting this, and then deleting one more tag down here, which would be, we'll delete this last one here, we'll save that. Or actually no, we'll keep it like that. So that's all we need to do here. So we have one row, and then within that row we have two columns. So we have a column here and a column here. Now let's go ahead and reload this page, and now they're side by side. Now the only issue now is they're right against the nav bar, so let's go ahead and pull that down. So I'll go to my my row class, and I'll do just say margin top -3, and we'll save that. Come back here, reload the page again, and I'll pull it down a little bit. And so there we go. Now we have our total revenue and our total orders. Of course, right now there are no orders or revenue, so it's going to be $0 and 0. Whoops, actually just remove the remove the $sign as well. We don't want that for our total number of orders. So now we have just $0 revenue and 0 total orders for now until we add some more. So that's all working great. Now let's go ahead and create a table in a new row that will display all of our orders. So below all of this, actually inside of our container still, but below our rows, let's create a new row, div class equals row justify content center. Within this row, we'll do a div, a class equaling column -md-12 margin top -5 to give it some spacing, and then within this column here we're going to create a table. So I'll do a table class equals table -hover table-striped. We'll close out that table, and we'll go ahead here and do a T head for a table heading. Within here we'll do a TR, and within this TR we're going to do a TH scope equals column, or COL for column, and we'll put order ID, which is one thing we want to show to on our table. I'm going to just copy this line now a few times just to save some time here with this. Let's put a few here. I'm not sure how many we need, but we'll just delete any extras. And now we'll also want to pass in our price as well as our name. We also want to pass in the email, and then we want to pass in the address information. So we'll do first street, and then we'll do city, and then we will do state, and then we'll go ahead and do zip code, and then finally the last thing we need is we need to pass in if it's paid or not. So I'll just pass in is paid ? And then I'll go ahead and close off this row right here, as well as close off the table head as well. And now let's go and open up a table body, which will have all of the details. All of the details for each order. So we'll create a table body, and within here, I'm going to go and create a table row, and then within that row, we'll put a th and a scope equals row, and then in here, we'll need to pass in all of our data from our template. And we'll do that for each of the different pieces. So we'll do a table head, and below that, we're going to do just TD, and then we'll do the same thing here, passing our data within our template here, and do the same for all of these different fields. But we need to go ahead and get all that data, and to do that, we look at our views, we pass in our orders here. So we need to loop through that and put the data out for each one by one, I guess. We got to loop through it and just display them one by one. So we can use a for loop for that. We come above our table row because we want to create a new table row for each iteration of the loop. So up in here we can do 2 curly braces and 2 % and within here we can do for order in orders, because we call it orders in our view. So now we have this variable order that is for each order in the orders list that we created. And so now we can pass in order dot whatever for each of the orders. So in this first one here, we want to get the order ID, which is the primary key of the order. So we'll do order.pk to get that. Now below there, we'll go ahead and do order.price. And now we can copy this for each of our other pieces of data we need. So we'll just paste all this in a bunch of times. Next we'll need our order.name, our order.email, our order.street, our order.city, our order.state. Below that we'll need the zip code, so we'll do zip_code. And then finally, the last thing we need is if it's paid or not. Now this one's going to be a little different. We could just pass in is paid and it will say true or false. But I think it would look a lot better if we had like a check mark or like an X to say if it was paid or not paid. So instead of doing this, I'm going to delete this completely. I'm going to break this up in 2 lines because it would be a lot more code here. And I'm going to go ahead and do an if statement to see if the order is paid or not. So once again, I can use our same template syntax and do our curly braces and then 2 %. And I can say if order.is_paid. So if this is true, then we want to show a check mark. If not, we want to go ahead and just show a red X. So I'll do an else. Now this in here will be if it's not paid. So to get our icons, we can use Font Awesome, which is already included with all the bootstrap that we included earlier. It should already be in our base template. So you look at our base template. Up here you'll see Font Awesome right here. So it's already pulling them in for us. So we have access to those icons already. So we can go ahead and just use that by creating an I tag, giving a style of a color of, we'll say, green. And then we can go ahead and pass in a class to define what the icon is. So do class equals FAS-FA-check. Now we'll create a check mark. We'll close that tag off. And then below the else, we can do the same thing, but for the red X instead. So we'll do an I style equals color : red, class equals FAS-FA-times. And the times will just be an X. And we'll close off that tag as well. And now finally, we need to close off this whole if block. And now finally, we need to close off this entire if statement. So I'll do our same syntax here and just type in end if and save that. And now that's all saved. Let's come down here. I'm not sure what this is or why it's there. Let's get rid of that. We need to close off our row. Oops. And then we need to go ahead and end our for loop up here. We started this, now we go ahead and close that loop as well. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. Curly braces, percent signs, end for. And then outside of that, we need to go ahead and close off our body, our table body as well. And that should be it. Now we save this. Come back to our template here, reload the page. You now see we have this table here. And it will show up striped because that's what we put within our table up here. We put hover and stripes, so we can hover over the rows once we create them, and they will be alternating a slight difference to color. Let's go ahead and add some orders and see how this looks when they have orders in here. So let's jump back into our admin page. We'll come down to our order models. We'll just create a couple orders real quick through here. So add an order model. I'll give this one a price of 32. I'll just select some random things here, doesn't really matter. And this one will say that it is paid, so we'll check mark this box. We'll save that. Let's go ahead and create one more. This one will be 45, we'll say. And we'll select a few other random things here. This one is not paid, so we'll leave that one unchecked, and we'll save that. Now we view our site, and we go back to the restaurant/dashboard. Now you will see here we have our total is adding up, so 45 plus 32 is 77, so that's working good there. We have 2 total orders, which you can see here, and then over here, and this is paid, you'll see it has a check mark for the one that is paid and an X for the one that isn't. And it also shows our data, our price, our name, email, street, city, state, zip code. So it's all working pretty good. We have a simple dashboard page showing up data from the orders from the day. And all the old orders in our database are not showing because they're not the ones from the current day. So that's all working great, and that's pretty much all we're going to do. The last thing we're going to change here is on our home screen, our index page, we have a restaurant login link here, and this one goes nowhere right now. So let's link that to the dashboard, and then if they're not logged in, it'll just redirect them to the login page anyway. So to do that, we'll jump back into our text editor, jump into our footer.html file, and then we have a href here. We can do just a Django URL with curly braces, percent signs, type in URL, space, and in quotes we'll put dashboard, which is what we named our URL route for the dashboard. Come here, reload the page, click on that link, dashboard, the restaurant login, and it takes us to the restaurant dashboard if we're logged in. And if we're not logged in, it will redirect us to the login page. We have a good start to our restaurant side of the application. There's much more we need to do here to make it functional, but at least we have a good starting point for next time. I'll put links to all the AllAuth stuff and everything else we use in this video in the description, as well as a link to the code before we started and the code at the end, as well as a link to the written tutorial and everything else that's usually down there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.